Hey guys, I am getting set up right now. It's going to be a lot of dead air. So as always, make sure to look into the comment section and see the timestamp where I put where we start the episode. If you want to listen to it, like a regular person. All right, we're going to be setting up and skip ahead.
Hey.
Hey, what's up, JB?
How's it going, sir?
Bad, hectic. Doing a lot of podcasts in a short amount of time.
Very cool. Sorry to be so rushed on my side.
Oh yeah, no problem, man. You have a lot to be sorry about.
Well, I know. That's just the kind of guy I am. I'm just sorry.
Never gonna forgive this. Well, Gina's not helping.
she abandoned her post.
You see the new Last Jedi trailer?
Yes, I
I haven't
did.
seen it yet because I've been too fucking busy.
I loved it.
Yeah, I should just skip.
There's some people doing that, you know.
I'm good at skipping trailers. I skipped the last trailer for Force Awakens before it came out.
Oh yeah.
Hi, we're waiting for you. Oh, thank you. No problem. We really appreciate you taking the time out of your showing up on me. Did you like Blade Runner?
Yeah, I did. I mean, you know, it was a little long for my taste, but I liked it. Dude, it's right almost 3 hours.
3 hours
man.
is too long?
Yeah.
I'm just joking. I agree. I think cutting 20 minutes out would have been good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, hey, Shakita. Sorry, I wasn't looking at the chat field. Hi. She says, hey, Dylan. Hey, John.
Hey, Shakita.
Oh, she may have left because we didn't respond.
Aw.
Dina.
Hello?
Hi.
Hi. Hold on, my...
We're live, so don't say
Headphones
anything
are-
racist.
Oh my god. Hold on.
Also, we're live, so don't use the Lord's name in vain. I should have said that.
Oh.
Okay, Gina, whenever
Okay.
you're ready.
Sorry, now I can hear you. I was plugging in the wrong thing to my phone.
Gina, we can't hear you.
You can't?
We can't hear you, Gina.
Yes, you
I
can.
hear
I'm
her.
just messing with you.
Stop.
Dylan, start the podcast. Let's go.
Shakita says hi to everybody and hi to you, Gina.
Hi,
Shakita.
All right.
That's so sweet that she is listening in. Thank you, Shakita.
You guys ready to rock and roll? R&R?
Let's do it.
Welcome to the Deuce Drop. I'm Dylan Shuck.
I'm John Booker.
And I'm Gina Murtalo.
In this podcast, we're reviewing the 5th episode of the first season of the HBO original series, The Deuce. And a big shout out to our Patreon supporters. If you want to be a supporter of the show, you can get on down to patreon.com/thewatchandtalk. And big shout out to our premium supporters, Shakita, June, and Kaka. As always, just a heads up, the show has extremely mature graphic content, and we'd be doing a disservice to the listeners by not willing to be speaking frankly about them, right, John?
That's exactly right.
So
Dylan.
here's your warning that we will use some of the same language used in the show, so don't listen to this at church out loud. Smart thing to do. Also, if you ever hear us refer to somebody in the chats, because we stream the episodes live on YouTube, so follow the watch and
someone like Shakita
follow the watch
and Paul.
Yeah, Well, Paul's not here at this juncture, but yeah, go follow the Watch and Talk on search for it on YouTube. Subscribe. Also at the Deuce Drop on Twitter. We usually give a heads up the day of when we're going to be streaming live. So if you take a little effort, you'll be able to pay attention to streaming live and join in the conversation and bring up some points and argue with us and tell us where we're wrong, which will happen a lot.
Or support us. Either way.
That's a better idea. All right, let's jump right into the episode, shall we?
Let's do it.
Episode's called What Kind of Bat? And that is Darlene, or not Darlene, I'm sorry, Ginger is her new name.
Ginger.
Her response to Ruby about, I don't know, about the bad they get into or something like that when they're on the street, and she responds, what kind of bad? I'm missing the exact quote. I guess I should have written it down, figuring we do a podcast of it, but anyway. All right, so right off the bat, Darlene, we found out her name is Donna.
Which is, that's good because they both start with the D. It's a little bit easy to remember. I still, whether it's Darlene or Donna, she's still, I think, the most intriguing character on this show. I love every single scene that she's in.
This is a weird episode. Comparatively.
I don't know. I thought it was really fascinating to watch her move between worlds.
Oh, so you were watching an episode of Westworld?
No, moving between the world of Back Home and the world, of the Deuce. I thought it just added a whole new layer to her character, how easily she could move back and forth between worlds.
Did you bet?
Yeah, she could.
Gotcha.
Oh, and I was going to say, I liked how the very opening scene was of making breakfast. So when I first saw it, I thought they were going to be at Leon's. And even for a beat, when they were panning through the dining room, I was like, is that what Leon's looks like? And then I realized they were back home. So it's kind of a nice little parallel of like, she's in a totally different place, but maybe like a little bit of the same is going on.
Also she's surrounded by her peers. And she is completely uninterested, has no interest in it whatsoever. And it's not for her. There's another character that goes through the exact same situation. That's Abby on her date with Evan. Quote unquote date. Exact same thing happens. She's sitting there and they're talking about, stimulating stuff. I mean, they're not just talking about like gossip the way that, Darlene's friends were doing. They were like, oh my God, can you believe he was so pissed what he did with her car? She was really bored by that immediately. But they were talking about Nixon. They were talking about the war in Vietnam. They were like, some people would find that not appealing, but Abby seems like a person that would find that stimulating, but she wasn't stimulated by that conversation.
I've become convinced that that is sort of the underlying theme of the show, is even though the show is explicitly called The Deuce because they're referring to this area of New York,
and because
actually I think because but I think actually using, the idea of calling the show The Deuce is referring to these mirrored dual characters that we have running through every episode of the show. Plus we have our main characters are a deuce. Yeah. They're two, Vinny and Frank are a deuce. They're two sides of the same coin. And so I think, you've got to give a lot of credit to just the layers that David Simon has built into the show, where everything is thematically a deuce besides the obvious, 42nd Street reference. And poop. Thank you.
Yeah, thank God we haven't gotten to that level.
Guys, you will get all of the aspects here at the Deuce Drop. You will get poop talk. You will get intelligent talk, or quote unquote intelligent talk when I'm doing it, and then
from John,
actual intelligent talk when John's doing it. So yeah. Anyway, so and also there's a guy that it seems like she used to go to school with her, named Roger.
Yeah,
and it's definitely something for her. And he's like, "Woo, you look good, all changed up." And they make sure to show this older white guy speak to him rudely and say, "Son, can we have our food today?" That was done on purpose.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think they're
Yeah.
showing that where she came from in the Midwest, there's still a level of racism that she doesn't experience on the Deuce. I mean, believe me, there's problems down there, the way that pimps treat her and the things that she runs into, but back home is no fairy tale life either. So I think that was helpful to see.
We got a glimpse too, and Ashley, if I remember her name correctly, the one that used to be bottom bitch and before she was replaced by Lori. She has this talk, and we'll talk about it when we get to it, but we get a glimpse of why she why she responds, or why they respond to the pimps and don't completely hate them like Abby expects them to, because they're upfront about things. And back at home, people aren't as upfront about things, but they still treat her like shit. But they're not as upfront about it, right?
Right.
They don't, at least they're not getting shot straight, and it seems like they shoot them straight at least a little bit for some. So after the credits, we got Andy's having sex with a guy she calls G.I. Joe. They make some comments like, he's like, it's been a while, huh? And he's like, yeah, I feel 10 pounds lighter. Really romantic.
Graphic.
Really romantic setting.
Really, yeah.
There's some
Girls
classy guys down on the Deuce.
No, I get the feeling. I don't know if you guys, and I'm hopefully you guys can expand on this. I get the feeling that
I know where this is going.
that Candy doesn't want to be in this life anymore, right? Or like she needs to get out of it. Do you guys get that impression?
Are you gonna lock that
It's been
in?
really nuanced on this show.
Are you ready?
I don't know. I'm gonna have to push back on that. I'm not sure where you're coming up with that.
Alert.
Yeah, it just feels like she's kind of over it. I thought she was so into it the last couple
might
episodes.
be over it.
And it seems like she's over it.
Perhaps.
I don't know about you guys' interpretation.
Perhaps.
By the way, what was everybody's prediction about? Gina and I were discussing this. Wasn't I the closest about what the warehouse is? Didn't I say it was going to be a burlesque?
Yeah, you were definitely.
You thought it was
Bordello.
going to be a brothel.
Yeah.
I think bordello is the word I said, but massage parlor I think is the closest.
I think brothel is what you meant.
But it is a functional brothel. I mean, that's really what it is, just undercover. So yeah, I think you definitely get the gold star on that one, Dylan.
Yeah, I was wrong.
Completely wrong here as well.
We'll admit it.
I mean, it doesn't hurt to, but bordello, the dictionary definition of bordello, noun, North American, a brothel.
Oh, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
You can never say that this show is not educational because, man.
Well, I know bordello because
welcome.
the Tales from the Crypt movie, Bordello of Blood. And so that's why I was like, those were hookers, so it has to be something to do with that. But brothel I think of more as like an old Western place that's like low end and has like buckets of water instead of running water and stuff like that. Bordello I look at as like a nice higher end place.
But simple, not too classy.
Simple, not too expensive.
Simple.
Yeah, exactly. Classy but simple. As they use in the episode. But yeah, so there doesn't seem like Vincent seems uninterested. He doesn't want to overexert himself. He thinks he has a good thing going. He's not greedy. He's not a greedy guy, right? And so obviously Frankie's really interested in it. He doesn't really listen to Frankie, and Bobby's also with Vincent. He's not into it. He helps talk him out of it, right?
Right.
And I like to see Paul's taking initiative. He talks about how he looked up how much it would cost to take out an ad for the bar, and that Mike volunteers to draw it. He has a good. I think he has a good what's it called? A crew over there at the high.
A good team.
It's a good team. That's something to be proud of.
Team of associates.
Yeah, and he keeps acquiring great talent.
He does.
Although one of the talents is really pushing back in this episode. That's Abby.
Yeah, she has really turned the corner. Huh? Yeah.
So Abby,
she's not willing to wear the tights anymore. She's just not into it.
Abby tells Vincent she has a date with Evan, and Vincent gets super jelly, as the kids.
Yeah, which was definitely her point.
Yeah.
She's not interested in Evan.
She has some gall.
She's totally just trying to make him jealous.
Because Evan brought the camera, and she's like, you hold this? Like,
yeah.
and
Why did he even need to go to the bar to meet her?
he didn't.
She walked into the bar.
Yep.
She wasn't. Yeah,
Yep.
I feel like we're like in a gossip, like chat room or something.
Right.
Yeah, like she's totally trying to just make him jealous.
Yeah,
Am I right?
she's like really making him jelly. And
You know, I didn't even catch all that. That is some like revelations of underground female culture right there. You really dropped some knowledge on that one. I didn't even catch. Yeah, why did she have him come to the bar?
This ain't my first rodeo, John. It works like a charm.
Also,
as we saw later on in the episode.
Also,
we can see I'm easily fooled by female wiles.
She doesn't even try at the date either. Right, like I said, he was having they were having stimulating conversation, you know, that you'd think that she would be interested in. Again, they weren't talking, you know, stupid stuff. But
she's working at a bar with all this excitement and all these really interesting people. Like, I feel like her college crew talks about the world out there, and she actually goes and lives it.
Yeah.
So I can see how she would just not be feeling the college scene.
That's a very poetic way of putting it.
Thanks.
I also like Vincent asking Paul, "Hey, is he looking?" And Paul's like, "It's not my type." And he goes, "Pretend you're her." It's also funny to see
nothing special.
The way they talk to a gay guy, how they just don't know like what to do or what they say. What's it called? Frankie talks to him later about gay people and gives a whole spiel about lesbians and gays, and he says, "Hey, want to know why I'm not gay? Not enough holes." I was like, good point, sir. Very good.
Charming.
Point. But that whole not enough holes thing is totally taken care of in a later scene in this episode when we have, it makes up for the lack of holes by having more people. So you got to give a shout out to the ingenuity. Right, John? What do you think?
Well, Dylan, I'm just going to have to let you speak to your area of expertise, and I'll speak to mine. So,
got him.
So guys, that's not an insult because it's not an insulting thing to be gay.
It is. I didn't mean it as an insult. You obviously knew a lot more about the various orifices in which penal insertion can occur, and so I was just letting you drive the ship on that conversation. It's not an insult.
Hey, I've had a lot of penal insertion in my life. What can I say, huh? Anyway, sorry, Mom, if you're still listening. And
more power to
also,
you.
I apologize for anybody that's still listening, but I don't think anybody. We've lost all the listeners in the chat. What can I say? Sandra, a reporter. She's pitching a longer piece to the newspaper, and he seems to want the piece slanted, right? He wants it slanted toward the mistreatment of black prostitutes.
And he doesn't want her to perpetuate the stereotype.
Yeah, we find out this
slanted, but he just doesn't want to advertise that like this is what African Americans are doing in the city because people already have those stereotypes.
Got it, you're right.
Yeah, this is the Amsterdam news. It's not the New York Times or there's a clear agenda, a journalistic agenda.
You're trying to get to some truth. And he's like, that's not what we're looking for.
Right.
So Eileen / Candy is now pretty much dating Jack. And after they have sex, he asks if she came. And all we could think when we watched it was, I don't think that she's been asked that in some time.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's cared.
Yeah,
she was quite amused by the question.
Right.
Yeah.
And then she was ready to go again immediately. He's like, whoa, hold on. Not ready. And she's like, and he's like, no, seriously, I'm not ready. And then she goes ahead and finishes herself, and he lays his hand on her back. And it's just interesting to see, the sexual exploits of a prostitute outside of prostitution. Which is
it's
what I'm not used to. I'm used to seeing it but I was saying that joke before John did.
It does bring up an interesting, dilemma for women in this line of work. Is obviously there's no emotion involved when they're with a client, but maybe it was just me. It looked like she was having trouble working up any emotion even in her private life. It seemed like she was having trouble separating sex at all. Like even the sex she was having with this guy she was dating didn't seem tremendously romantic.
Spicy.
It seemed like she's trying to work through this.
Right. Yeah.
I would agree.
She again has removed intimacy from sex altogether.
Yeah. Yes.
And it's a transaction.
Yes.
Right. It's got to be a real dilemma for her. And I feel like she's probably always thinking of like, is he going to find me out? Is he going to know that I'm a prostitute? Is he, and then that's going to kind of dictate her actions and her emotions.
Or when is he going to be like the guys that I know
right.
how guys really are?
Yep, just waiting for the bottom to fall out of it. So
she's looking for it. Even when he gives her the money for a cab at the end of the scene.
She did not like that.
No, and technically the guy was actually doing something kind, but
Absolutely.
she's looking for him to reinforce this stereotype, and so anything in her eyes that could reinforce that is the way she's going to view it. And so I thought that was super interesting that she might want to give this guy a chance, but I'm not even sure it's within her power to give this guy a chance.
Yeah, I think that's accurate.
Jack invites her to his friend's party on Saturday night. Get together. He wants to have her meet some friends. And she's like, I'll see how my week's gone. Basically, do I have enough money? Or not do I have enough money, but have I made enough money that week? Have I reached my weekly budget, my goal? And he's trying to be super coupley, like how I kind of am with you, John, most of the time. You know how I'm like trying to be like coupley with you?
Yes,
sleep in the bed together, have breakfast in the morning. It's all stuff we kind of go over, and John's always like, I gotta go. He always has another.
But I really do have to go. It's not that I don't enjoy it. It's just, I do have to go.
We'll talk about this off to you.
Okay.
Fair enough. Because I really do want to talk to you about this because it's kind of becoming a problem. Anyway, so do you
like going to the movies?
Yeah, he gives her he gives her money for, like you said, for a cab, and she takes it, and it's just very symbolic of the way she.
Mm-hmm.
So we find out Darlene went there with the cover of going to get more girls. Now, I have a question for you guys. Did she go there to go back and see how things are, or did she use that as a cover, or did she actually decide, hey, I'm going to go out and get more girls? Like, I know she knew she had to come back with a girl, but
I wonder if the only way she could. I wonder if the only way she could leave was to tell her pimp, "Oh, I'm going down to get you a girl."
Oh, definitely.
But really, she wanted to go down. I mean, I think she maybe did.
Why did
but she had to go under the guise of getting.
Yeah, no, I think certainly that. No matter what, she had to tell Larry that.
But you're saying internally, did she really want to go down there?
Yeah, for other reasons also, or
that's a good question. I'm not really sure.
Did she benefit from that girl? Did she get a piece of that? 2.5K.
No, he sold her. I don't think she does.
Also, I guess my question would be, why didn't it show her visiting her aunt or trying to?
Well, I think that would suggest that maybe she really wasn't there to visit her aunt. I think one potential theory would be she took this bus ticket and she saw it as a way to garner favor with Larry and said, oh, I could go back there and bring a new girl in, and that would gain me favor with Larry. Because when we saw her back home, she clearly is not a woman of that world anymore. And so I didn't get much of an impression that she was enjoying being back home. She seemed to me ready to be back on the Deuce. And so I don't know. I think she did it all just to gain favor with Larry.
Yeah, I think so too. Now that you're saying that, she didn't go for any reason that Abby thought she was going to go for. And you're right. They didn't show any scenes of her visiting a family member. So it does seem like she just saw that more as an opportunity.
Yeah.
No. You guys stop talking right as I was yawning. Don't do that again. So the taller prostitute who's having an affair with another girl, her name's Barbara.
Yes, Barbara.
She brings Larry a big chunk of cash, and like we said last week, we didn't know how they had the envelope. And we didn't understand how she brought this big cash. And he was, talking to his other prostitute about, she was complaining her feet hurt. Can I do more work tomorrow? And he's like, if your feet hurt because your high heels, you better start walking on your hand.
That was a harsh line, by the way.
You didn't just say walk on your hands.
And we see that Barbara, we'll talk about how she's getting her cash out.
Pretty brilliant, if you ask me.
Yeah, Abby's date doesn't work out. Listening to them complain about the war on Nixon. And again, it's like Darlene. Just very interesting. Bails on poor Evan, who thought he was going to, get the hibbity-dibbity.
Nope.
Half of me thinks this whole thing was a power play on Vincent. Like, not only, did she purposely have him...
100%.
Wait, no, listen. Not only did she have him go to the bar as a power play, I think the entire thing was a plan. I don't know if that's what you...
What do you mean her going on a date and spending time with this guy?
Like you were suggesting that having the guy come to the bar was to mess with Vincent, which it definitely was. I was saying not only that was a power play on him, but the entire date, it didn't seem like she even wanted to go on the date in the first place. She was getting the camera and never had an interest in the guy. Just wanted to mess with Vincent.
Oh, yeah. That was my original interpretation as well. She was never interested in that guy.
What do you think, John?
I would agree that it's the
I'm gonna side with the female voice on this podcast who has already schooled me to the way of the world on this.
I don't have a female voice. I know it's a little feminine, but it's not a female voice. So I really don't appreciate you saying that. We'll talk about this off. Vincent turns
Dylan. I'm so ashamed.
Vincent turns down Rudy to Tommy. He seems disappointed. It felt like that was going to be some trouble, but ended up not being trouble. I wonder if that's going to come back at all, but it doesn't seem like it is. We've already moved past this. Bobby seems like he's going to have a heart attack at home itself.
He's a ticking time bomb.
I think she's just
he is on the verge of just dying, it seems like, at any given second.
And those kids suck. People out there that have kids, please write us in the deucedrop@gmail.com and let us know, is this a perfect interpretation of the way kids really are all the time?
They're going to say yes.
Wow. If they are, your kids suck. Darlene brings back the waitress and says she's too young and send her back. And she's, either way, I'm not going back. I think her words was, either way, I'm not fins to go back. I ain't fins to go back on that button.
Well done. Well said, Dylan. Well said.
I used it with the proper info.
You did.
Paul's in the gay theater jerking off.
He likes movies.
I figured you guys would like that segue.
Yeah.
A suited man goes up and says, do you like the movie? Which is different from, do you like movies?
Yeah. Well, hey, you got to spice it up every once in a while.
That's
Was there
right.
money being exchanged there, though?
No.
I know he got arrested for it, but is it illegal just to get...
that's just for pleasure.
So
he didn't get arrested. So I don't know if you caught it, but when they were all getting arrested, Paul's like, why? And he's like, oh, because you solicited my partner. They're just arresting them to be assholes.
Right.
He didn't solicit his partner. They just know that they're gay.
Right.
They were in a theater. They didn't break any laws and weren't witness to doing that. It's kind of like the same thing as they just round up the prostitutes just to go do it.
Well, and they actually, earlier, I can't remember if we've got to this point in the episode, but there's a wonderful call out to Greek mythology here in the story of Sisyphus, which is the guy, that pushes the boulder up the hill only to have it go down the other side, then have to push it back up the hill again. It goes down the other side, then he pushes the boulder back up the hill. And it's this cyclical idea of a revolving door that all of the people involved on the Deuce are a part of. So,
get paid to roll that boulder up, though.
Very nice. Well done.
Those fighting words.
Well done.
I do have to say, wow, when we're seeing the oral sex in the theater, this show is freaking graphic. And they take full use of the fake dicks.
Yeah, there has been more graphic, penis touching with hands and mouths, and I can't ever remember a show that has pressed the boundaries of that more than they have on this show.
Yeah, this is the most in that way.
John
the
Booker's
most
home movies.
You would know.
Anyway, later Vincent has to bail Paul out, and he sends Big Mike, who cusses out the cops when he does.
And I like the solidarity that we're seeing in Vincent's crew,
especially with
of like, these really are people from a lot of different walks of life, but they're also all being marginalized in some way.
Right.
And so it kind of brings them together, and they're sticking up for each other. And that was just really nice to see.
I love Big Mike too.
I love Big Mike.
Yeah.
If you also notice when he gets the call from Paul in jail, he turns to tell Big Mike, and Big Mike is already up before he even finishes saying his name.
Yeah.
Big Mike is
he's loyal
into action, and he's ready to back up. I think he overheard that somebody seemed. He probably heard last call, and then he was ready to.
Yeah, he knew someone was in jail.
Vincent and Bobby discuss Bobby running the massage parlor. It's gonna be weird to see Bobby in there, but
yeah.
So he says the doctor says he's gonna stroke out if he goes back. What happened in the last episode? Last time the doctor told him something. What was his response then?
What the fuck does he know?
What the fuck do they know, huh? But now he's listening to the doctors when it comes to working in a freaking burlesque or bordello.
Yeah.
Or
he's like, oh, this is my
brothel.
second choice of career, but I guess I have to do it for my health.
Right. And he convinces him. He's like, hey, you're not trying to sleep around my sister, are you? He's like, I wouldn't fuck them with your dick, I think is the thing he said.
I liked that.
Rodney gets a lot of time in this episode, played by Method. He's pretty ruthless in a weird way. He's kind of like this shameless guy. He doesn't have the standards that some of the other pimps do. And again, Larry basically sells Ginger. He names her for $2,500.
I will say, and we'll talk more about this later, but I feel like Method Man is actually the unexpected surprise hit performance of the show.
Oh, really?
Thus far,
like 12 of them.
Well, I mean, there's a lot, but I'm just saying, I had only seen Method Man act in the movie How High with Redman, where they're stoners.
And hopefully
it was
hopefully he'll live up to that performance.
It was not an Academy Award winning performance, but again, we'll talk about it later. But I think he actually, with Maggie Gyllenhaal, gives the best scene so far in this series
100%.
later in the show.
100%.
Yep.
I agree. I find that scene fascinating.
Yep.
On both ends, like they both are so subtle in their performance.
Let's put that off
but okay, we can save it.
Vincent asks Abby about her date.
We don't want to wait.
And she doesn't really give him an answer. She didn't say, it sucked. So she's messing with him again. Then starts taking pictures of Reggie Love.
Yeah, that was ballsy. When she was doing that, I was like, no.
He's like, did I say you could do that?
Don't do that.
And they snap back and forth with them, and then she pours out his drink after she made it, and then Vincent's like, guys, bro. What's going on, guys? Why don't you guys cut the shit out? She's just really upset about the way the hookers are treated by the pimp. She's reaching her boiling.
Right.
Andy's in the room with a pretty creepy freaking dude who's not talking.
And I knew that was going to go south.
Gina and I watched the episode together, and she said right off the bat, he's menacing.
Yeah.
He did not look nice.
And then he starts mugging her, and it gets nasty very quickly and scary and claustrophobic. It goes from like this, regular scene that we've had throughout the show to very claustrophobic really quick when she's so stuck in there. And then she unloads pepper spray in his face, and then she gets caught up on the lock. And I think a lot of people aren't taking into account also that she got some of the pepper spray in her eyes when she does that too.
Mm.
Yeah.
So she probably had a little issue with vision as well, a little bit. Not as much as he did, but yeah, she fumbles with it, opens it, and we don't see him behind her, but all of a sudden we just see her get yanked back by her hair, and then we see him, and he comes to close the door, and then we just hear her getting beaten. It was so chilling.
Such a hard scene to watch. I mean, that was really disturbing to me.
She got beat bad, and at the hospital it looks really bad, and she is a really good actress.
Yeah.
Yep.
So Sandra, Alston, and Flanagan, they talk about how they pull arrests at a certain time to help them get OT. Which I can't believe they're talking
and that's
to a
when
reporter about. I can't believe they're talking to her.
I know. I had to like rewatch that because there was a lot of lingo in there. So I rewatched it with some subtitles to like truly understand what they were talking about. It's a very fast scene.
He talks about
the dialogue between the cops, especially, I think, is some of the dialogue you have to listen the closest to. Or maybe I'm just more comfortable with the pimp's dialogue. I don't know. But it seems to me that the dialogue between the cops, you really do have to pay close attention to, because they do sort of have their own lingo going between them.
Does one of you want to explain what they explained in that? I did understand it when I watched it a second time, but honestly, I couldn't like explain it to you right now. Do you want to explain what they were saying?
I think they arrest them late before their shift is over, and then they have to go to court before they have a certain period. They have to go meet in court to identify them before they have a certain period off. So they have to get overtime in that span of time.
Right. So they get paid extra basically to go in the morning if they do it at that time. Right.
Yeah.
Because at least nowadays you have to have, after a shift, you have to have 8 hours or 12 hours before your next shift, something like that. And I think that I'm sure it's 8 hours. But then it's maybe even shorter. But yeah, you have to have a gap in there. Otherwise it's overtime. So I'm assuming that they're doing it late. So they have to go to court and then they have to get over. Because if the cop doesn't go to court, then you're right, JB?
Mm-hmm.
That's the first thing JB taught me. Cop doesn't show up in court.
Same with like speeding tickets and stuff for anyone that cares.
So anybody out there listening to this in their car, hopefully you're not speeding, but if you do, fight it in court. The cop might
go
not
to
show
court.
up.
A lot of the times the cops don't show up and you get off scot-free.
Maybe they'll get OT.
Maybe.
So yeah. Anyway, she talks about Sisyphus, or he talks about Sisyphus rolling the. That's how Alston looks at it. But she responds that Sisyphus does not get paid to roll the ball for eternity. And Flanagan's like, "Yo, like, you think you could sit here making judgmental comments to us while we were doing this? Like, get the hell out of here." And Alston,
he did not like that.
It's the subject. I love Rudy. And he's talking about how he's not greedy. If it's not enough money for you guys, I'll take more off my cut. I'm not a greedy man. I'm not. You make money, I make money. Huh? How you doing?
The mob is so likable in this show. Yes. I kind of just love the mob. They're great.
It's too good to be true, Rudy. We're gonna see a nasty side of Rudy at some point.
Something's gonna happen, because it is very like, this barely seems illegal. Yeah. Like, you're right. Someone's gonna make the money. They might as well make the money. It's definitely the honeymoon period of starting the business, and I feel like they're already on the fence about. I mean, Vinny's definitely on the fence about it. I feel like he's gonna struggle with things that they're gonna ask him to do, kind of once they have him locked in, and that's gonna be really interesting to see who is gonna have a problem with it. Who's going to have no problem with it. Like, I feel like we're going to see people's, just their true sides come out in that.
And like I said before, I can't wait to get a little fleshing out of Tommy, his capo, if you will.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then he says, hey, make sure you have a secret exit out back if people need to escape, if the feds are coming through. And make sure you have a VIP room, huh? With the high rollers. Not everything's a $20 sex
Classy,
job, huh?
But simple.
Classy, but simple. Richie the White Pimp. That's my segue.
Richie the White Pimp.
I work on the best segues that I can, guys. I just don't get him.
Finely woven.
I can't wait till he gets an episode with some background. Alston says one of his girls was brought in for beating on him.
I enjoyed that.
And he hangs out with them in a barber shop and stuff like that.
Yeah, and he's getting his like long blonde hair trimmed. It's interesting to have him thrown in there. I like it.
Yeah, I do too. It's
Keeps
so
it
interesting.
for sure.
Also talks about setting Sandra up with a pimp, and he arranges it with Reggie Love later.
Right.
Candy ignores a call from Jack, and a different reason for her ignoring a call from him earlier, and she's covering her face with makeup. She definitely doesn't want him to see her in this.
No.
You know what I like is the fuck do I know scene. You guys
Mhm.
remember the fuck do I know scene? Vincent and Bobby going to the parlor and him asking a bunch of questions like, hey, do they need a lock inside? Fuck do I know? No, do they need like to lock themselves in? Fuck do I know?
Fuck do I know?
Fuck do I know?
Yeah, he wants to make it abundantly clear that he knows nothing about massage parlor management.
I love
we
this.
get it, Vinny.
I love this podcast because I really get to show off my New York accent, huh? Fuck do I know, huh?
I'm sure that's why listeners like it too.
It's true. That and your deep cursing skills, which you are getting to perfect on this show.
Go fuck yourselves, huh? Like I said, guys, I'm going to take advantage of the fact that I get to cuss on this podcast very much. So, thank you. Paul goes to a club. Yeah, by the way, John and I's Westworld podcast, that's the only podcast I have that is not explicit. We do not cuss at all in that.
Oh.
And that's
why
Westworld.
not?
We decided because it was such a popular show, we'd figure that we would try to do that so people can listen to it in all situations. That show is possible too. We can hint around things too. This show, how am I supposed to?
I mean, that show got a lot of listeners because we opened it to such a broad audience.
Right. And also it's a massive show, but how can I be like, hey, yeah, he's jerking off in the movie theater and the guy in a suit comes and puts his penis in his mouth and a lot of fake dicks and ejaculate in
Just
the
not
show.
a nice way to say that.
Yeah, I can't really tiptoe around that. But if you have ways,
No.
email us at deucedrop@gmail.com. Please include pictures. Thank you very much. All right. Gina checks the mail, just so you know. I shouldn't say that. Then we're going to get really weird pictures. So anyway, Paul goes to a club, and maybe Gina speculates that they ate some lewds.
I was trying to figure out like what was going around in pill form in the 70s. I don't think they had ecstasy.
It looked like tabs of acid to me. I think they were dropping acid.
Yeah, but do people drop acid and just make out and stuff? I don't really think of that.
No, I mean
it's
a hallucinogenic, and so I think
a party. That's not a party drug, though.
I mean, you can, but it's different. It's not like a dance party. It's like everything's insane.
I'm gonna have to look up drugs in the 70s pill form.
It looked like a pill, not a. But whatever.
Yeah, I thought it looked like a pill.
Looked like a tab of acid.
And I thought lewds were really popular, like Quaaludes were really popular. But would that just put you to sleep?
No, I
think
that's a severe downer.
Trust me, it makes you chillin'. Anyway,
we need to do
speaking
some
of
field
which,
research.
This episode is brought to you by Ludes. Go to ludes.com and use the promo code TheDeuceDrop. Save 20% off your first lude. Anyway, takes a guy back to his boyfriend's apartment, and at first we think this is going to be this big drama, but it turns out into a threesome of love. See, this is my response to Frankie, what he said earlier, not enough holes. There's enough holes to go around in this.
Plenty of holes.
That's what I'm saying.
They've got something for everybody on this show as far as, what they sexually delve into.
Could you explain in
do. I enjoyed
detail,
that
John
scene.
Booker? Gino, why don't you say what you said while you're watching that scene?
Oh, I can't remember.
I can remember.
I enjoyed it, though.
I can remember exactly what you said, I think. I think she said, "Hi,
Dylan,
I need to look up gay porn more." So then after the episode was over, we looked up gay porn.
No, we did not. Yeah, we did not.
Yeah, never mind. Sorry, Mom. So anyway, okay, so let's talk about Rodney and Candy.
Oh, again, my favorite scene so far. The whole series.
A lot of long shots in this. A lot of tracking shots in this. A lot of things can go on, especially with the wide range of emotions. And we don't know what's going on with her. She goes from crying to laughing at him. It seems
kind of him too. Like he seems like he's being kind of supportive at first, or his usual just like trying to solicit her to be his girl, and then it gets really, really mean.
Well,
it's an emotional tennis
it's all
match,
over the place.
back and forth. Yeah,
I'd say that he thought that his pitch was getting through to her, and she made him seem like that. And then once he was rejected completely, he was like, "I'm going to tear you down the same way you just made me feel."
So I'm going to drop my theory on this, and I could be dead wrong.
But I'm going to drop a
theory. I'm going to drop a Deuce theory here.
Why don't we have a sound effect for that?
Pew, 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 pew.
So here is my theory. I think Rodney set up this whole thing of her getting beat up with the guy. I think he set that up so that she would come running to him and come under his tutelage. I think he orchestrated that whole thing.
You dropped that Deuce and you locked it in. Pew, 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 pew. Flush.
I could be wrong, but I feel like that's sort of the underlying tension around what he was saying to her. If you go back and watch that scene,
times, right? It seems like she got beaten a few times.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then he starts describing the other times that
perhaps he set up all of them.
Yeah, I think he has been. I think he's been going after her in very harsh ways, that he's got this shadow side that he's been getting her beat up, trying to get her to come running to him.
Flush.
Thank you, Dylan.
But anyway, that's an incredible scene. If there's going to be an Emmy scene for this, which I think it is just bad timing for Emmys because it's going to be a year before the Emmys, This is it. For her, I don't think he's going to. I don't think he's a big enough character in the show to be, and I don't think that he was the star of that scene.
But he did a good job.
He did a great job, but
he did a really good job.
He's not the star of that scene. Maggie Dillon.
Yeah, this is her Emmy scene if she gets one.
Yeah.
So soon, after that, she gets propositioned and walks away. She walks away, guys. She doesn't want this life anymore. And
long time coming.
It seemed like it was, I don't know. Now that I look back, it looks like it was setting this up. And I don't think we saw that coming.
Yep.
So we should have called it.
It was a shocker to me because it seems like she's been so happy with her life on the Deuce that I don't know. I didn't see it coming.
So it's kind of out of character for her, based on, it didn't give good motivations for this, but anyway, this show just needs to work on its little motivations, and we can understand why the characters are doing something.
Okay, I think we've beat that horse well into the dirt.
Beat it into the Deuce.
I was gonna say that.
Anyway, so we find out how Barbara is pulling in that cash.
Yes.
It's a con job.
Work smarter, not harder.
And
good girls.
So yes, that when the other one is doing the sex stuff with the guy, he's like about to look to the side, and she's like, "No, keep looking at me." And
that was like kind of a comedy bit almost.
Some Abbott and Costello sex scene.
A little bit.
That was like an Abbott and Costello sex scene.
Yes, that's exactly what I meant to say.
But
thanks for paraphrasing.
I'm gonna drop a Deuce flush. This is gonna come back. This just
turned into a shock jock radio show.
Weenie in the butt. All weekend long. Cool weekends.
Dylan, what's your Deuce?
This is gonna come back and bite her hard. I don't think she's gonna survive this season. I'm locking it in.
Oh God, you think that one of them's gonna get caught, or both of them will get caught?
Barbara, the one that we're actually meeting.
Okay.
That's a good prediction. I think that's very, very possible.
Well, and I feel like her pimp's gonna find out because she keeps, I just made this $400. It's not gonna end.
Larry's not gonna like this, that she's been stealing from people and giving him that money so she doesn't have to work, so she can go and do the stuff with her friend, stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
All the holes, I know.
Well, we kept on track last episode, I feel like, very well. Now thinking back to it, I'm like, I can see why after we record, we're like, wow, we really kept it together on that episode. Yeah, it's surprising that our numbers have risen every week. Now we're definitely going to lose listeners. Has risen every week.
We're going to lose the grammar police.
Yeah. I feel like that's the last people that have been listening is the grammar police.
Absolutely agree.
Now we finally lost them. So
Yeah.
Abby talking to Thunder Thighs and Ginger and finds out that Darlene is back and she feels betrayed by
Yeah.
Darlene.
Rightfully so.
The only scene Lori's in too, Ashley sits down by her and Cece and to give Cece money, and it seems like Ashley's doing well for herself right now.
Right.
Yeah.
And Lori is having a little bit of a backlash against something. She was really spooked by something.
Yeah, I took that as she was spooked by something out there.
I think they're setting up something they'll pay off soon. We'll find out what happened there, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
And then Ashley is dismissed, and she goes to talk to Abby, who's reached her boiling point about Darlene. And she said, "Do you ever think that maybe she likes it? Like the way that he talks to her?" And she's like, "Hey, your dad paid for your college." She's like, "Yes, so." I'm like, "Does he still pay for your place now that you quit?" She's like, "No." And then she's like, "Hey, they love you for who you are until you try to be something else. At least pimps are upfront about it. Daddies, husbands, and pimps are all the same. At least."
Yeah, that was a pretty profound scene from her.
That's a takeaway. That's a takeaway right there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
John has nothing to say.
Yeah.
No, I completely agree. I'm standing in awe of how right you are.
I hope you're sitting while you're recording. It's much more comfortable.
No. I like to stand while I
take a
record.
look.
When there's awe around, you stand up. You don't kneel during the awe because you don't want to disrespect the awe.
That's exactly why I'm standing.
With your hand on your heart. Abby's not in uniform, says not comfy, and then there's almost another mutiny that happens at the construction site where the other waitress is like, "Well, if she doesn't wear it, I don't want to wear it." And Vince's like, "You have to wear it. You do too." Like, what?
Yeah.
Didn't expect that.
Yeah, but I wonder if he's really going to make her... Wait, she didn't go run to the back and put it on. I'll say that.
Yeah, but I think he meant like next time.
It's definitely a power play.
From now on, huh?
Right, but I'm interested to see the follow through. Because she seems to be like sticking to her guns here.
That's probably my 15th most excited for plotline.
Will she or won't she?
Well, I feel like
that uniform is the Ross and Rachel of this show.
But I feel like
I
they've
have
already
heard that reference more in the last couple days than I can even.
Well,
count.
John Booker and I are the Ross and Rachel of this.
Ross and Rachel of podcasting.
I'm the Rachel.
I want to be Rachel.
I get to be the Rachel.
I'll-
No, I'm always the Rachel.
We'll talk
always.
About this after the podcast.
Ooh,
Talk about this after the podcast.
hey, you guys have a lot to talk about.
You do.
What were you gonna say, John? Before I interrupted you with Ross and Rachel?
I totally forgot, and it was really good. Probably going to be the best thing I had said the whole podcast. But hey, no
But
big
thank God
deal.
you made that really topical joke, Dylan.
Austin introduces Sandra to Reggie Love, and she basically pays to interview him. Not a ton, too. $40.
More than she was planning on.
Yeah.
Well, I have a question, Gina. Since you have the calculator in front of you, the inflation calculator, at all times.
Yeah, keep talking
Yeah.
for a while.
No, I know.
and
I'm
will.
gonna obviously I have to finish what I'm saying, but I know you have it already readily available. I'm curious how much the $2,500 that is paid for Ginger is in 1970s time, because that's probably a lot.
Yeah, that seems like
Probably
a lot of money.
$15,000 or something.
I mean, they are buying and selling a human being. So
Yeah, that's-
I guess it runs kind of steep.
A human being.
I think
That's
it's
the
easy to
Room
get
reference,
lost
guys.
in that.
Woo! Y'all ready for this?
Tell us.
Y'all ready for this? Na 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 na. Better
Better
drop that Deuce flush.
Okay. The equivalent of $2,500 from 1970 to 2017 is $16,010.08.
Hey, I was closest without going over. Tell him what he won. John, what were you going to say before we started doing Wheel of Fortune references?
Again, I totally
Price
forgot.
is Right
and it was
reference.
brilliant, but
You're joking. It was 2
I
seconds ago.
forgot. Yeah, I know, but it throws me off my game when I've got to start thinking about Pat Sajak.
All I
and,
say is don't hate
you
the
know.
player, hate the game. It's Bob Barker and now Drew Carey.
Oh,
And
I stand corrected,
lots of people,
and I am standing.
lots of people are giving Austin shit about his crush on Sandra. Anything she might have dinner tomorrow. So we're gonna see how that goes. I think it's gonna end up with being something. We'll see. And guys,
or she's just gonna keep denying him to get what she wants.
I bet something will happen at some point. Like she's gonna realize, hey,
I hope it does. They make a cute couple.
Why do you say that?
Because they're cute. They're both truth seekers.
Not a racist.
No, it's not.
Candy finally reached her breaking point and goes to see Harvey Wasserman, and he's, she's taking him up on that job behind the camera, which would be much safer, which I don't even know why she didn't do earlier.
Yeah.
I know she felt disrespect because she wanted to be behind the camera, but apparently New York...
Maybe we'd have 3 less episodes if she'd decided that earlier.
New York has a change of rules a little bit, or not a change of rules, but the way they look at them. And so things have changed, and they're going to film in 2 weeks. I'm assuming that means by next episode. And then Frankie gets the parlor. It's almost done. All we need by the end of the week, or by the end of the month, is the girls. It's the only thing it's going to be missing. So we'll see how that goes. And,
eye on the prize.
And guys, that is... What do we think?
It's good stuff. Dylan, where can people find you online? Suppose someone wanted to send you some potential jokes in order to share on the next episode.
I'll tell you guys in just a second, but first I just wanted to say I feel like the last 2 episodes were filler-ish. But I guess the show it moves at a slow pace, right? It's not going to have...
it's David Simon.
Yeah, right. It's
character driven,
right?
Yeah,
and I feel like some people are struggling with it. I'm definitely not. I definitely think the show is better not binged. I think it's better week to week.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
Just from the pacing,
I'm enjoying it.
I'll answer your question, but let's just go in order. John, where can people follow you on the internet?
Okay, follow me on Twitter at John JOHNKBUCHER, or check out my website, tellingabetterstory.com.
Gina Murtala, where can people find you on the internet?
Oh my God. You can find me at Gina Murtalo on Twitter.
And address? Home address.
No.
For me, you can follow me at Shuckster. That's SCHUCKSTR. Go to thewatchandtalk.com. My movie review podcast is a little more mature than this. There? Oh, crap.
It's not hard to do.
My dog's going to the bathroom on my carpet. I'll finish this podcast up myself.
Mamba!
And that's it. I'm Dylan Shuck.
John Booker.
I'm Gina Murtala.
And we'll see you next week. I gotta go. Love you guys. Bye.